Rogues are up today. On Optimal Play, we're talking through the new player cards in the Innsmouth Conspiracy Deluxe box for Arkham Horror the card game. I'm Brandon.
I'm Steven.
And we're back again for our 13th video in a couple months. How are you hanging in?
Pretty good. These ones are a little easier, just a few cards each.
Yeah, we managed 10-hour-long videos for the investigator starter decks, and these have been kind of a nice under half an hour, really kind of more on cruise control at this point, I think.
Yeah, I could do these in my sleep.
Yeah, and maybe you have been. That would explain some of the really wrong opinions you've had lately.
I could also have better opinions than you in my sleep, so not worried about that.
Wow, them's fighting words. All right, well, let's see who has the best opinions about Trish. Introduce us.
Yeah, Trish Garborough the Spy is 2 will, 4 book, 2 fist, and 4 agility. She's agency and detective, and as a fast response, after you discover one or more clues at a location with an enemy, either discover one additional clue at that location or automatically evade that enemy, limit once per round. Her elder sign is +2 if this is an investigation. You may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. And 8 health, 6 sanity.
Okay. I mean, her ability lines up well with her skills, right? Which she's got 4s in intellect and agility. She's going to be evading enemies and discovering clues.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to need some fast ways to get clues to really maximize that ability to evade an enemy.
Yeah, fast or things like scene of the crime that don't provoke attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
With that, her deck building options are rogue cards level 0 through 5, neutral 0 through 5, and seeker 0 through 2. So she's a core set style dual class, but rogue seeker.
Which we've never seen before.
Right? Nope, not yet. Yeah, I'm guessing we never will get 2 investigators with at least the same combo of 5-2.
Yeah, though
I'd be very surprised if we do.
We've seen some similar-ish ones, though.
Like Roland and Joe.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Seeker Mystic hybrids of some kind.
That's true.
I think there's 3 now, if you count Murray.
And we know one's coming someday with Norman.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's 4 with him. So
yeah. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, right? They both Mystics and Seekers both like scrolls and books and
nerd stuff.
History. Yeah, nerd stuff, right? Yeah, they're the Arkham nerds, no doubt. But Trish kind of is too. A nerd, that is.
Well, she's she's sneaking by guys by like being careful and investigating.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is actually a pretty cool ability for a spy, right? Because she's she's evading enemies to learn what she needs to find out. A pretty cool way to capture that flavor. It seems tricky.
Yeah, and I feel like it could go the other way with a spy too, where you maybe evade someone in order to gather clues from them, like kind of pick in their pocket.
Yeah, which is I think some flavor we've seen on rogue cards before, so that would make sense. All right. Well, her signature event is In the Shadows. It's a 0 cost event with a lot of icons. If you use this for agility, it's got 4. Otherwise, 2 wilds. It's a tactic that says fast. Play after your turn begins. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you. Until the end of the round, enemies cannot engage you, and you cannot deal damage to enemies. Yeah, I was going to say, with 2 combat, she's already kind of pointing towards, like, you're not trying to kill the enemies, and this just drives that home.
Yeah, so this would make her ability to evade enemies pretty useful, especially if you need to help out your teammates, because you just disengage from anyone, then you can investigate and evade. In true solo, you might just investigate, get extra clues, and just leave those enemies behind and try to get away from them.
Wow, I didn't really think about that with Trish's ability, that she can, in multiplayer, discover a clue at a location and then automatically evade an enemy that was on another player at that location. That seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
The like discover a bonus clue, like that seems, even compared to tabooed Rex, it seems not as good because it's conditional. But I mean, I guess Rex is conditional on blowing the test away, succeeding by 2, but he has no trouble with that. So, okay, that is actually huge, and that's still, I think, a super cool spy flavor. I really like it.
Her weakness is Shadow Agents. It's a 3/3/5 enemy, humanoid and cultist. Prey Trish only, Hunter, and then while Shadow Agents is engaged with you, you cannot discover clues except by investigating. But you could still use her ability to evade this thing. And then after Shadow Agents is evaded, discard it.
Oh, okay. So you could, and what? It does 2 damage. So you can take the opportunity attack and investigate to get this to be automatically evaded and discarded.
Yes. Yeah, that seems like okay. She does have 8 health. Obviously, if she has any cards that let you get clues without attacks of opportunity, like we said, then this would be pretty trivial to deal with.
Yes, but it would still have to be by investigating. There's not that many ways to get clues by investigating without attacks of opportunity. Right. We did see, looking at the Seekers, we saw that cryptographic cipher, something like that as a fast action can investigate. So there's an option.
Yeah, maybe she wants that.
I mean, for a weakness enemy, this is tough. Like, if you ignore that you can evade it and you're just like, that we need to kill this, like 3/3 is a pretty tough weakness enemy.
Yeah, I mean, the evadability is pretty good, though. I mean, you can just use her signature for 4 icons to evade this, too, is the other thing.
True. Mm-hmm.
That puts you
and really, 5. Like, she has a skill of 4. She throws in 2 cards for their icons, and she can just, I think most of the time you're just going to evade this. You're not going to be pulling, like, opportunity attack, investigate, hijinks. I think you're just going to evade it.
Yeah, I think it'll depend how many agility icons and stuff you have in hand.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, every weakness depends a little bit, but I expect you would make sure to put a lot of agility icons into your Trish deck. So,
well, although most of the time you don't need it, because most of the time you can just do your evasion by investigating, potentially. I don't
know. That's true, as long as the enemies aren't engaged with you. I don't know.
Play a lot of you handle this ones.
Yeah, there we go.
Enemies always engage other people.
Yeah, I still think for the most part, what Trish is going to do is evade the enemy with her first action, investigate with the second action, and she gets 2 clues that way, which makes it like she would kind of. It's actually like a regular evade and then 2 clues is actually the same result, right? As a clue automatically evade, and then you have an action to investigate again.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's probably the more common thing that she'll do. And yeah, I think she would just evade this. It doesn't seem too bad for her. Man, rogues have gotten so many weapons lately. They keep coming. She has a 25 automatic. It's a 4-cost rogue asset. It's an item, a weapon, a firearm, and illicit. It's fast and uses 4 ammo. As an action, spend 1 ammo, fight. If the attacked enemy is exhausted, you get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for this attack.
Isn't this just like Finn's signature? Basically?
I could not tell you off the top of my head what Finn's signature is.
It was either required them to be exhausted or at least not engage with him. And it was like pretty good under that circumstance. It wasn't fast, I guess. But.
So this, I don't know that I would put this in Trish's deck unless I was building it in a really specific way to be able to handle some combat like I would need to in True Solo, because this only buffs her combat skill to 4.
Yeah, I agree. That's not great.
But for someone like Finn's combat is low too. I don't know who uses this. I guess is where I'm going. Maybe Preston after he uses an event to evade something, or
Oh yeah. Well, Preston has Streetwise to evade stuff, so yeah, he
True.
might be a good candidate for this.
Yeah. It's kind of expensive for what it does.
Yeah, which also means Preston maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exactly his inheritance, right?
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. It's a gun.
Yep. The next card is Dark Ritual, a one-cost asset. Ritual and Cursed. Seal up to 5 curses. At the end of the Mythos phase, you must either spend 1 resource or discard Dark Ritual.
Dark
And
Ritual,
it's
of
an
course.
arcane slot.
Oh yeah. It's a classic Magic the Gathering card. It even costs 1. But it adds 3 mana to your mana pool. Which is broken and has been banned for years and stuff, but is a classic. This doesn't seem to be an homage to it unless the cost is meant to be.
This is actually very similar to a Mystic card that seals a token and costs 1 resource per turn.
Yes, Protective Incantation, I think
Yep.
that is. Yeah, it seals any token or maybe any icon token, and you have to pay 1 to hold on to the
It seals
card.
any, including numbers, I remember.
Okay. But maybe anything but autofail. I don't think it seals
Yeah,
the autofail.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Anyway, it is a lot more reasonable for rogues who have the best economy and a lot of investigator abilities that give them resources, depending on who you're playing. This is a lot more feasible for a rogue to pay its cost, but I don't know. At this point in looking at these cards, I don't know how to value sealing 5 curses, right? Like, why would there be? So one completely unclear thing to me, honestly. I don't know whether you have any more insight into this from reading Discord or anything. So obviously, lots of player cards are using the curses and the blessings. Do we think the Innsmouth campaign does too? Like, it probably does, right? Like,
Yeah.
I would imagine so, but I don't know that for a fact. I don't know anything about the mechanics of the campaign. So this might be like a tech card that you play only in decks in the Innsmouth campaign, which are likely to curse your chaos bag, or as part of like a curse-centric build that wants to play cards that generate curses but doesn't want the curses in the bag. Seems very specific.
Yeah, I mean, we saw one Seeker card, which actually she could take in the last video that drew 3 cards.
Yep.
So, you could play 2 of those and 1 of these or something.
That's right. I forgot Trish can take that card because it's a secret card. So there's 1 right there. Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting if this is a counter to the effects of the Innsmouth campaign. That's actually a different strategy than they did in the earlier cycles, where they would often give you the counter in the cycle afterwards. Like Dunwich gave you, or the cycle after Dunwich gave you cards that helped you like deal with mill.
Yeah.
But they didn't give you the answers in the cycle itself.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think in this case, the exception is kind of for the obvious reason that they probably are not going to put these tokens into future boxes, so it had to be somewhere in this cycle. But by that logic, this could have been much later in the cycle, right? You get to the 5th or 6th pack, there are still occasional level 0 cards in there where this could have been. Okay, I think we got to keep reading to see what else this is going to be good for. So we've got Obfuscation. This is right off the bat, the art of clearly Dexter Drake catches my eye. He's the mystic in the box who we haven't looked at yet. But this is a 2-cost rogue asset that's a spell. It's fast. It uses 3 charges. And it says, reaction when an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, spend 1 charge to cancel that attack. Now you see me? So this screams Dexter being him in the art and a spell and everything. But and I believe from previews that he can play rogue cards. This feels like a good Trish card, though.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely gives you another way to deal with shadow agents. Like if you draw shadow agents on a low shroud location and you have this out, actually, even if you don't have this out, it's fast. It's not super easy to deal with that. Like,
right.
You could even use like a flashlight or a lockpicks to just like almost automatically deal with your weakness. And I think it's just good in general. Like anytime you have a flashlight or a lockpicks and a nasty enemy, like having that other
Mhm.
way to deal with the evade is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for Trish, it means that she can take an automatic evasion on an enemy that's difficult to evade or that has alert or something that you don't want to risk failing. And then in general, yeah, it's 3 dodges, right? Like this 3 dodges on one card seems good, and the price is right.
Well, it doesn't cancel any attack. It only cancels attacks of opportunity.
Right.
So it's not really
Good.
3 dodges.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. You're right. So it's not quite the full dodge effect. That said, when I have dodge in my deck, I find that I provoke opportunity attacks and use the dodge on those pretty often. So that is probably why I combined the two in my head.
I think the fact that this is fast is like huge too, because it
Mhm.
means you never have to play this until you're about to take an attack of opportunity.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if you're paying 2 at the point when you need it, you're only paying 1 more than a dodge.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, if you had to put this out in advance and then maybe you never got an attack of opportunity, then it would be significantly worse.
Yeah, and then I think lastly we got to put a pin in this a little bit, and I'm pretty confident from looking at this card that we'll be revisiting this when we talk about Dexter.
I mean, I don't know if it'll. I guess it'll be interesting to see if this is actually good in Dexter. But I do think it definitely indicates Dexter will be able to take road cards.
Yeah, I think we know that much. All right, one more card.
Faustian Bargain is a 0-cost event, a will and book icon. It's a pact and cursed. As an additional cost to play Faustian Bargain, add 2 curse tokens to the Chaos bag. Investigators at location gain a total of 5 resources, distributed as you wish.
Oh, so this is fairly similar to the
similar
Seeker
to the
card,
Seeker.
which was, what was that called again? It was Deep Knowledge. So that was an insight, not a pact.
Mhm.
I kind of wish that these were all pacts so that we could maybe look forward to a
Or
card.
are they all cursed?
They are all cursed, yes. So far, I think every card we've seen that generates blessed tokens is blessed, and same with curses.
So right off the bat, you can put in 2 Faustian Bargain, 2 of the Seeker card, and 1 or 2 Dark Ritual. And like, if you draw cards in the right order, at least, seems like a pretty strong combo.
Yeah, and curses also get rid of themselves because you just draw them. I'm not sure that 2 copies of each of these would be enough for me to play Dark Ritual, because you're still only, I think, unless you have a really weird draw where you get most, like 3+ copies of these cards in the early game, you're not going to have 5 curses in the bag from just these. So Dark Ritual won't be maximized. And then even then, by the time you draw it or get around to playing it, you might have drawn a curse or 2 and removed it from the bag that way. I think you've got to go even harder on curses, or like we said, the campaign has to be also contributing curses in order for Dark Ritual to be interesting. But okay. But anyway, this in a vacuum, I think, is incredible. I think 5 resources distributed as you wish. Like, this is nearly the resources of, or no, this is more resources than Stand Together, which is an excellent level 3 card. That card gives you and someone a total of 4 resources and 4 cards, so it's a little bit more econ than this is in if you count the cards. But I mean, I think this is an incredible card for the same reasons that is. You hard mulligan for it, play it the first turn, and as many players as you need have a jumpstart on paying for all the assets in their hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game generally values cards a little bit more than resources.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's right. But there's definitely, it's not always, or like they don't, it's hard for them to get the balance quite right. Like,
Yeah.
I think Studious is fine, but I think Another Day, Another Dollar is like amazing, because that has twice as many resources as Studious has cards.
Agreed. It is clear that kind of 1 resource does not equal 1 card. But the thing is, it does if you're deciding what to do with an action. And so it's not clear that 3 cards is worth 5 resources. In this case, I think this is a better card. I think that this is a card that I would throw into most rogue decks and consider the 2 curse tokens to be well worth it, whereas I was wishy-washy as far as that goes on the Seeker one.
I think another nice thing resources have is that they're never a bad thing. Like, there's no resource limit or anything like that, the way there is with cards.
Yeah, there's no limit. There's no At least yet. Who knows? Now that they're putting tokens into Lux boxes, maybe we'll get new resource tokens that you flip over when you draw them, and they might do terrible things to you. But until then, they also don't carry any risks like drawing cards does. Yeah, I think this is the highlight of the pack. I think that this is great. I think that rogues almost always should play this, even if they're not playing something like Dark Ritual to deal with the curses. I think it's worth it. I think this is.
Yeah.
I think for rogues, this replaces emergency cash, like not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually that I almost wish that they had made this one only giving yourself 5 resources to kind of go with the guardian or the rogue selfishness thing. That might have balanced it out in terms of power level.
You're right. It is a little unrogue-like to get to distribute them, huh? Yeah, maybe the logic is that the curses are actually kind of a penalty that's on the team equally, so the opportunity to distribute the benefit equally is like nice to have. But hey, you know what? If you like rogues because they're selfish, no one's making you share these.
Yeah.
Also, why do you think? Oh, this says distributed as you wish. I'm like, why does the Seeker one have that reminder text saying you decide how many cards each investigator draws? Maybe it's just because of templating. Does draw a combined total? Yeah, okay. I guess because saying you distribute card draws doesn't make as much sense.
And is this the man with the red gloves giving you the bargain?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is actually like familiar art. I'm pretty sure I've seen this in the other Arkham games. And yeah, it's definitely the red gloved man sitting, if I'm recognizing this art correctly, sitting in Velma's diner. You can see he's sitting in a booth at a table. Actually, you can even see the pepper shaker on the right side of the art, right? This is a scene that is set in Velma's diner in Mansions of Madness. Is actually where I like best know the red gloved man from. All right, so I think I like Trish, but most of these cards were not like clearly Trish cards in the same way that some of the other cards were support for their class's investigator.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of Seeker cards that you want to put in her. Maybe even some of the ones we just saw. In fact, I think we were wondering what to do with that agility icon on the first action of playing Plan of Action. And maybe that's more for Trish.
Oh, that's a great point. Plan of Action seems like a great Trish card because she evades first, loves drawing. I mean, everyone loves drawing cards, and then it can help with investigation.
So yeah, so maybe, and then obviously we saw a card with Dexter Drake on it. So maybe these ones are not always meant for the investigator of that class, but rather the investigator that can take that as a secondary.
Yep. Yeah, cool. I'm excited to try her. I love the way the spy flavor is captured, and I think that she lines up with enough existing rogue cards that it's not like she needed a lot of these to scream Trish, Trish. Yeah, you just kit her up with some lock picks, and I don't know, lock picks and 28 skill cards is probably a fine deck for Trish.
Yeah, I think lock picks, the ability to just blow away any investigate test is always pretty interesting for rogues. I do think Lola also boosts both of her key metrics. Also gives her a fast way to evade enemies too. An automatic evade, like because you just pay money and then you evade the enemy.
Oh, it is after you discover a clue, not necessarily after you investigate, that you get a free evasion. Yeah, so Lola Santiago lets you buy a clue fast, evade an enemy. It seems like a good deal.
That does seem very good. So far, rogues had automatic clues, which was great, and then automatic damage, which I find was okay, but like a little expensive. But
yeah,
like
as far as the events.
Automatic clue and evade seems pretty nuts.
Yeah, I'd say so. So she'll probably be playing intel reports and some of those automatic clue events too. Yeah, cool. Love it.
This is crazy.
Okay.
Intel report, it says after you discover one or more clues at a location with an enemy, it doesn't say that you have to be on that location. So intel report, you can actually evade an enemy on like a seeker or mystic in another location, right?
How does intel report worded? Does it say discover clues on a location up to, like, on a connecting location? Is that? Yeah,
it's
maybe
like
those
up to 2 spaces away.
Maybe those, but and it says discover a clue on that location. Like, it uses the same language that Trish's ability does, or at a location.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work.
I feel like I'm like 60% sure that interaction works, and that you don't have to be there because
This says nothing about Trish having to be at the location.
But it says at a location. Doesn't intel report use on a location? Is she still at?
I don't think there's a game distinction between at and on.
Have you never played an LCG before? It sounds like a very LCG thing to do.
I'm pretty sure there's no distinction.
There's a distinction between like win and while and stuff like that in these games. I do not think you can safely assume that at and on are the same. Okay, we'll have to look that up, or probably we'll have to look no further than our YouTube comments, where you can help us with this dispute. Let us know whether those, whether remote investigations evade an enemy at that location, at the location where Trish is, even though she got a clue somewhere else, or neither. I guess
they definitely do not evade an enemy at Trish's location. That I'm positive of. But I was evade that enemy.
But if I'm in downtown and I remotely discover a clue at Southside, I have still discovered a clue while I was at downtown. So I evade an enemy at downtown. I can see that as being an interpretation of this. I think that's maybe not it, but I'm not ruling that out. Okay, well, they say never go to bed angry, but we've got to end on this disagreement, Steven. So let us know who's right, and who should be the only one to be trusted from now on. And with that, if you enjoyed this video, we appreciate likes and subscriptions to the channel. We've done hours and hours of these lately, and lots of other fun videos too. So yeah, please check out what we got going on Optimal Play. Anything you want to get in before we go, Steven?
No, she seems like a fun one.
I agree. You didn't even filibuster long enough for me to take a sip of beer. All right, this is over. Until next time, be optimal.
Yeah.